Ladies and gentlemen, a minute early here. 7:29. I'm a minute early to the live stream. But we've got some stuff. Joe Rogan had one of his kind of debates, I guess. Dave Smith, Douglas Murray. He was trying to gatekeep speech, I guess. We'll see. And we've also got the SAVE Act, which now Democrats are creating a total false narrative on, saying that, oh, it's going to prevent women who get married and then change their last name. It's going to prevent them from voting. So I'm going to go through it and then analyze it and tell you guys exactly the cope. But you can see all these big Democrat accounts come out and say, well, no, we have to oppose this, not because we want voter fraud to continue, but because women that get married and change their last name are not going to be able to vote. Yeah, because that's what the bill is about, I'm sure. You're not being disingenuous at all. But see, they can't say it's because they need the voter fraud. Been following you for a long time. Keep up the great work, dude. 300K is right around the corner. Yeah, I really want to hit 300K. It's been a slow time the past few weeks. I mean, it ebbs and flows. I haven't had one of those big videos recently where I can get it to like 2 or 300K. Because the Greenland stuff got me a little bit. The Alberta stuff got me a little bit. The Greater Idaho got me a few good videos. I just got to find that next thing. I think the Canadian election is going to get me a bunch of views, honestly. I'm pretty excited for the Canadian election night. Don't have 60 votes in the Senate yet because they're going to filibuster it. We're shocked they're going to filibuster it. Shocked. Absolutely shocked. But, like, see how they got these big accounts? Like, they just tell Hillary and Barack and all these people to tweet out this. 69 million women whose married names don't match their birth certificate, so they're not going to be able to vote? Huh? Stop with the lies. This is complete horseshit. Complete bullshit. Gaslighting. Totally false. It's not even close to the spirit of what this act is trying to do. And they confirmed that, no, this is not true. This is a false narrative. But they have to create this false narrative because they can't just say, well, yeah, we need voter fraud. Because honestly, realistically, when you're talking about voting in an election, shouldn't you want people to have an actual ID? Like, shouldn't that even be that's a requirement? But not with these people. If you say it's a requirement, that's racist. Dave Smith and Douglas Murray finally had a debate. Yeah, I've got some clips on that I'll go through. You know, it's like these people, they try and police speech, but Dave Smith annoys me too sometimes. And it seemed like Rogan was on Dave Smith's side throughout that. I mean, Rogan like tries to be a moderator, but not really. I don't know. Did you see Tulsi Gabbard say about RFK and MLK files today? Yeah, I did see what she said. She said they were finding more from what I saw. I saw JFK stuff. More JFK files they found in a warehouse. Have you seen the video of Tim Walz getting obliterated and booed by U.S. veterans? Yeah, I played that on stream yesterday. Thoughts on the Taliban on CBS saying they won't return weapons Biden left? Should Trump threaten them, or should he leave the Taliban alone? Well, I mean, it was our fuck up. Of course, they're not going to return them. No, there's no point in continuing. It could only get worse. It was our fuck up. Afghanistan was our mess. Obviously, they have leverage because they have the weapons. They're not going to return them. So we're going to have another Middle Eastern situation to try and retrieve our weapons after we got out? No. I'm waiting for the Epstein files too, man. I'm waiting for something to drop. But just rumor something. If they just came out and they said, okay, we're releasing the phase 2 tomorrow, I would be extremely excited. I would be very happy. because of my coin. Recently, the Mexican president said that she would fight the U.S. by air, land, and sea if the U.S. goes after the cartel with drone strikes. Do you think she's terrified? Yeah, that's really sad. I mean, they're totally controlled by the cartels, that government. If she's saying that, is that what she seriously said recently? It's a controlled government. Corruption. Total rout on the bond market. Foreign countries retaliation put pressure on Trump. Yeah. Well, the bond market is can't have that. You think Democrats are specifically using this to try to gaslight women into breaking away from the Republican Party while also getting themselves illegal votes? Absolutely evil. Well, this won't get them any, like, this is an off year. To me, I think they're just trying to justify not supporting voter ID. And so they've done all these different things. They've said, well, minorities are they can't find IDs. They're too dumb. They vilified minorities, and they said we can't do that anymore. Then they said, well, you're just racist if you want this. It's voter suppression, but it's like you can't get an ID, seriously. So now they're trying this new tactic to where they're like, well, let's just say that because there's like a loophole in it, we can say, well, 70 million married women are not going to be able to vote now. And so they're trying to suppress women from voting. And so they just make up this total bullshit. They won't even address the actual thing, which is secure elections, which all of very liberal Europe has. Very liberal. Europe is very, very liberal. Well, is Europe racist for requiring voter ID? That's interesting. Trump should have come up with a plan to implement tariffs slower, too much flip-flop. Well, the issue, if you do it slower, then it's going to be even worse for the market. I mean, maybe that's better if you want the interest rates down, but if you slow play it for like a 5 or 6 month saga on tariffs on implementing them on countries, it's not good for the market at all. So if you rip the band-aid off immediately, I mean, listen, this price action these past few days, it's not sustainable and it's not healthy at all. And I mean, obviously, it's not going to continue. 10-year has shot up to 4.4%. The yield. I mean, the yield is the gold standard. Treasury yields. When it shot up, I was like, this is not good. Fuck this. But then Trump took the tariffs off. Canada has voter ID. I mean, so many places do. So many liberal places have voter ID. It's like liberals don't want people to know that. All the developed first world countries have voter ID. There's third world countries that have some form of voter ID, but it's liberal states in the United States that don't have it. Liberal dark blue states. And so, like, this is how desperate they've gotten to where it's this, well, 70 million women who changed their last name because they got married are not going to be able to, like, the SAVE Act would prohibit married women or anyone who has changed their name from voting. This is fake news. Those individuals who have updated their... I mean, there's no way that they would introduce an act based off of trying to freaking mandate ID and then saying it, hey, we're going to make it to where 70 million women can't vote because that's the goal of this. It's just, this is like Project 2025 again. Just this false crap. Yeah, I heard about that. The assassin that tried, there was only one assassin, not, you said assassins in Florida? Ryan Roth or Ryan Roth. Yeah, he tried to buy a rocket launcher from Ukraine. But Ukraine's got a lot of illegal weapon sales. That's what they were talking about. So there's the SAVE Act. They're gonna filibuster it. It needs to. Then it would need to get 60 votes to pass, which is not going to in the Senate. If they don't filibuster it, it needs 51, which, because the Republicans have the Senate, they would get easily, because I think every Republican is going to vote for this, because this is completely, there were even, I think, 4 Democrats in the House that voted for this, and every Republican. They've got a very slim majority in the House, Republicans do, but then 4 Democrats crossed over and voted for the SAVE Act, because this is not something that a moderate Republican would vote against. Even moderate Dems might vote for it, because it's based on freaking voter ID. But then they'll be like, well, it's states' rights and all that stuff. But it's like, in terms of voter ID, we really have to do states' rights on making sure the elections. Boy, you would think that they would be, well, again, because it's all bullshit, but you'd think they'd be like, well, yeah, Republicans are all these conspiracy theorist assholes who say every election is rigged. Why don't we just make it so voter ID is mandatory so they'll shut the fuck up if they lose and they can't say it's rigged? Because they, obviously, evidently, they need the fraudulent votes. That's what we've learned from these people whenever it's like, okay, you know what? We think there was something that happened in 2020. Let's make sure it's sealed so nothing happens in the future. And they say, no, we can't do that. But I mean, don't you want us to not bitch anymore about the elections being stolen? Well, I guess they need the fraud. Carney was the first to call for protesters to freeze their bank accounts and called the military to step in. Why would you want that shit in charge of Canada this critical time? Well, yeah, if I was a Canadian, I wouldn't want Carney in if I was a Canadian. But I'm an American, so I would rather deal with Carney, who I view as less Canadian first and weaker. I mean, the situation in Canada, we can't, like it's better for Americans to deal with the liberal. The liberal winning is better. Jasmine crock of shit went off today. Dude, where is that one thing? I gotta find this. Connect the dots. You cannot afford your home, groceries, thanks to deportations. What are you talking about?
Realm. So I am telling you that this is a failed thing, but we've got to do better to connect the dots and let people know the reason you can't afford a home is because of these failed immigration policies. The reason you're not going to be able to afford your food is because of these failed immigration policies. And the same can go for the hospitality industries, where we have so many of those in the hospitality industry that are saying they do not have the workers that they need right now.
But I mean, failed immigration policies. Is she talking about Biden? I mean, I agree with her. She's saying Biden has failed immigration policies and now the illegals have flooded the market, made it competitive, and jacked the prices up. I agree with her. So she's talking about the housing market and how Biden's let in the millions of illegals and now the market's more competitive and there's not enough homes, and so the demand is usurps the supply. I'm being sarcastic. I don't even know what the fuck she's talking about. I don't know. She's saying Trump has failed immigration policy. Trump's been president for 2 months now and he sealed the border. And his deportation numbers, by the way, are very low. His own people criticize him for low deportation numbers. Now they're crying about, oh my goodness, somebody with a gang tattoo got deported. Well, yeah, I mean, he hasn't deported enough people. But you've got liberals crying about deportations. There's barely been any deportations. But you can't do anything about these people bitching about everything. Who do you think won, Dave or Douglas Murray? You think Murray got smoked? I mean, I just saw a few clips of it. I don't know, dude. The whole Dave Smith thing, I did like when Murray called out Dave Smith. Because what these guys will do, they'll be like, well, I'm not an expert. And then they'll give like this huge opinion, but then they'll have like this cover of, ooh, you know, I already said I wasn't an expert. And so it's just like, come on, dude. If you want to debate, you can debate. Let's stop doing the prerequisites and trying to cover yourself by saying this. Come on. This is weak. You got to admit, it's annoying when they do that. Dave Smith constantly does that. Well, I'm not saying this. I don't know too much, but I think Winston Churchill was caused World War II. And, well, I mean, you need historical context. But a lot of these people, it's just... On the latest Charlie Kirk video, he said guys talk about crypto, sports, and taking over Greenland. Well, he's an avid he's an avid viewer of my stream. He's an avid. Canada has a lot of immigration, and their housing is way too expensive. No, I know the immigration comes in, and it's competitiveness, it's supply demand. So the housing prices and the housing market has been destroyed by all the immigration that we've seen. Not totally. There's other factors like inflation and things like that, but it doesn't help because you're having to fight more people for houses, and so the demand for it goes up, and that's why all these housing prices are just ballooning everywhere. But it is also economic factors as well, to be fair. Will China continue to escalate their tariffs? I mean, China wants to negotiate, but they're very honorable. And so I think it might go on for a little bit before there's a negotiation to where China can spin that they came out not necessarily on top over Trump, but to where it's this fair deal. Like they keep saying we want to negotiate, but then they put this extra point of, oh, it needs to be fair. Because they're very, it's very, public perception is going to be very important. These are two heavyweights, right? They don't want to just bow down to the United States within 2 days. And even with how much their economy relies on the United States because of how big it is, they don't have to. But they will be hurt severely the longer this goes on. Did you see the Dems trying to investigate White House for insider trading on terror? Yeah, I thought it was like April Fool's or something. Adam Schiff comes out and says, and I was like, wait, are you talking about, I mean, it's all of, it's like all of your fellow constituents doing it. Doing the insider trading. Like, we've been trying to go after that. The people have, for Republicans and Democrats, the citizens have been trying to go after the Congress people for manipulating that and the insider knowledge and everything like that. That's been known. What if China invaded Taiwan as retaliation? They wouldn't do that. They really are not in a position to invade Taiwan. Well, actually, right now, they potentially could because it's April, but I don't think they're going to do that. They're not in position right now. They're doing gray zone. They're doing intimidation. I think they're trying to merge Taiwan's economy with China's and make Taiwan completely reliant on China. Taiwan has a strong military relative to their population. But Taiwan is just so small, and they're right next to China, so it's just such a logistical nightmare. Really, all the way, even landing on Taiwan is not easy for China. Like, that whole war would be such a mess. And I guess Russia-Ukraine is a mess as well. What did Tim Pool do now? I think there are people trying to argue, you know, that Austin Metcalf case. They're trying to argue Carmelo Anthony, the black kid, it was self-defense. You know, I looked over the police report. I think it's at least second-degree murder, probably first-degree, based off of everything. I mean, we don't have the full picture, but I was reading into that and stuff. So we'll see what happens. You know, it's going to be all about race when that trial happens and everything. But I think that might have been. But he also met with Netanyahu. That was probably what you were talking about or referencing. Just flew into Taiwan on a layover recently. So tightly packed population plus mountains. I know they've got mountains, and you can't. There's no way you can invade any of the eastern side of the island. It's just an entire cliff. The entire eastern side is like a cliff. It's very hard terrain to manage, and the Taiwan Strait is not fun to manage either. So you would have to use it would have to be through the Air Force origin, and then you would use, I mean, they've got these new barges now set up to where they have these 3 barges all connected with bridges, and so you put those down, and that's how you could potentially do a land invasion across the Taiwan Strait. But it's very complicated. Trump needs to start announcing deals tomorrow. Well, he said the first deal was very close to being done. And now it's 145%. Yeah, the big stuff today. Do I still have this pulled up? Maybe not. I guess I don't. I don't have it pulled up. But the big stuff was the inflation dropping, and the true inflation is down to 1.34%, I think. So yeah, it's really, really low. Being touched isn't an excuse to stab someone in the chest. Him as being, oh no, I know. That's the other thing. As long as Metcalf didn't have any type of lethal weapon on him, that kid completely escalated it, and he was in the wrong tent. Apparently, those tents they're reserved, and he was there, and people say he's looting or something. I mean, it doesn't even matter. But if he's there, Metcalf tells him, "You need to leave." He says, "I'm not leaving. Touch me and see what happens." And then he tried pushing him away. I mean, it's a vague thing. We're gonna have to see what the witness statements are. But he tries pushing him away, and then he stabs him in the heart. Like, that's a total escalation. That's not. The only way I could see it being some type of self-defense is if he like punched him and then Metcalf like hit his head or something. But if you stab someone with a knife in the chest, yeah, that's there's obviously intent to do. That's deadly force. Would you support the idea of sending American prisoners who are convicted like murders and gangs and members to El Salvador to save money and taxpayer dollars? Well, yeah, I mean, I'd have to look into the legality of that in terms of prisoners' rights and things like that. But I mean, obviously, people, that would be a huge win if Trump did that. I don't think anyone would really oppose it. It's like deporting all these criminals and these gang members. There's just it's such a niche amount of liberals that oppose it. 4.4% 10-year yield and negative CPI. I know it's bullshit. Well, it's a manipulated yield. The fact that Carmelo had a knife at a track meet to begin with definitely had something to do with starting the whole situation. Oh yeah, I mean, I don't know what's true in terms of coming out of that case, but he was saying he was going to stab someone or something beforehand. I don't know if that's true, but we hear all these different details and stuff. So, I mean, we'll have to see what happens, but that's not classified. And then they're trying to compare it to Rittenhouse and stuff, and it's just total false equivalencies. Rittenhouse is getting chased by these liberal career criminals on his back in the street, as opposed to this kid who's in the wrong tent. He tells him, go to a different tent. This is not your tent. You need to leave. Oh yeah, just stab him in the chest. That's self-defense. Yeah, okay. If Trump got a nuclear deal with Iran, talk about what a massive win that could be. No, I've said it's going to be it's a huge win if Trump gets it done, and that would really dispel a lot of the Israel stuff with Trump if he got that done instead of assisting Israel in a war with Iran, which I think is just 10 steps back for the administration. Trump's people are telling him, they're saying, you can't do this. This is not good. I think Trump's advisors know that it would be a really bad look, and so hopefully it doesn't happen. You think Israel is paying right wingers to spread propaganda or nah? I mean, sure. And I mean, to some, I mean, to me, dude, based off of my timeline, there is not a lot of pro-Israel stuff coming from right wingers. Now, my timeline is more right, and so the establishment right certainly is very pro-Israel. But if you're talking about influencers and stuff like that, I guess it depends which influencers you watch. I really haven't seen a ton of recently. It seems like it's moving in the opposite direction, man. Rapid response is cool, but don't stoop to the Dem level of telling people things are good. 6% lower gas is irrelevant. That's like a margin of error. No, I disagree. I think people have seen. I mean, I've definitely noticed lower gas prices with Trump. Gas prices went under $3 in my area for the first time, and probably since They were at record lows during that Russian invasion of Ukraine. You guess Rogan is pissed about the tariffs? I don't know what his opinion on the tariffs are. I was just, there's just like I want to react to a few clips of Dave Smith and Douglas Murray having a little argument about Israel. Would you ever make a North Korean video? I made a video once about the one hotel, the Pyongyang hotel. Pretty interesting. They never finished the hotel. It's like this weird ass pyramid design. It's very strange. It's like a 2D pyramid. Like if you look at it. Hakeem, yeah, did you see that? Thank you for reminding me of that. Oh, this is Rubio just loving Trump. Listen to this.
Well, Mr. President, one of the most important things I believe you'll achieve in your presidency is reordering the world in a proper way. For 31 years, more than 31 years now, multiple administrations have allowed the Chinese to deindustrialize this country, to take away jobs and factories and pillars of our national strength. And what you're doing now, I think, is a great service to our country, but ultimately to the world. And I want to congratulate you and your team that's working on that, because it has extraordinary geopolitical implications, as you see, from all these other countries that are now coming here and wanting to join something that actually makes it's crazy to allow these. I mean, basically, we lived in a world where Chinese companies can do whatever they want in America, but our companies cannot do anything over there unless they allow it, and even then they steal our stuff and reverse engineer it. So just reordering all of that has dramatic implications on peace and security of the world. So we thank you. An important meeting, thanks to you, is going to happen on Saturday for the first time in a long time. There'll be direct talks between Ambassador Witkoff and a top-level leader in Iran. We hope that'll lead to peace. You've been very clear what Iran is never going to have is a nuclear weapon, and I think that's what led to this meeting, and we'll wait for him to come back from it. And
yeah, I don't know if they'll agree to anything there, but you know, I was looking at this clip. I don't know what happened to Chuck Schumer. He looks really pale in this. They got to give him some makeup or something. I don't even, what even is this clip? I just saw how pale he looked.
So the American people, Trump sold them a bill of goods when he was running. They're very quickly getting wise to him. And we're seeing that in how the American people are reacting to Trump. I think a lot of them are feeling that Trump is betraying them.
On the tariff issue, you've been in the Senate for more than a quarter century, and in that time, yes, Congress...
So the American people...
European Union seeks to make completely balanced trade deal with U.S. Oh, this.
Republicans are proposing new spending for border security funding in this forthcoming budget bill. Is that something that your conference will support, that sort of security investment?
We have to look at the particulars. We believe that we need to secure the border, make sure that it is safe and strong, that the rule of law, consistent with America as a country.
Dude, he's trolling, man. It's such a troll. Dude, like, yeah, come on.
Of a nation of laws is fully and completely implemented at the border. We believe we have a broken immigration system, and we need to fix it in a comprehensive and in a bipartisan way. And we also believe that we must always defend dreamers, farm workers, and law-abiding immigrant families and protect them from aggressive overreach by the Trump administration. Those are the principles that we have consistently articulated publicly.
Yeah, you wanna stop immigration? Come on. Jeffrey's MAGA. He's like trolling people. Like, this is what they do sometimes. Yeah, you want to stop immigration. You want to shut the border down, I'm sure. Yeah. He's like, we want a comprehensive. Well, then why did Biden open it up completely in 2021, the last time you guys had political power? Wonder how long they'll run with the insider trading thing. Not very long. It's not going to catch the public because the public thinks they're all doing it already. Democrats, Republicans within Congress. There's no standing. I mean, I didn't even see it. Like, I don't even think it's a big story. Did you see Trump make fun of China for banning U.S. films? Yeah, I saw that. He's like, I'm not too worried about it. He's like, I don't really, and it doesn't really bother me. There's worse things in the world than that. You're afraid China gonna send something over from the Wuhan lab again? Yeah, I mean, people blame us because we funded it with gain-of-function research, but I mean, it is China. Yeah, I remember that clip with Trump. He's like, "You see what we did?" He said, "You see, we changed this." And McGregor was like, "He's like, your work ethic is impeccable. You're so inspired." All right, let's react to some of this. This is 6 minutes. I'll stop it and react to it.
I do also think that one of the bigger, kind of the bigger picture dynamic.
Put on an action. I mean, all right, it's a podcast, but like, this is like a third grade attire.
Dynamics to all of this is that we have, at least since 9/11, been in a state of perpetual war. And all of these wars have been disasters. They have been so many lies involved in selling all of them. I mean, the whole Iraq war, the whole war in Afghanistan, just lying the whole way through. I mean, I remember literally having conversations with Green Berets in the middle of the war in Afghanistan, and they're like, George W. Bush is telling you that the army we're building up there is really successful. This thing's going to fall in a week without us. And then all through the Obama administration, it's just like lie after lie after lie with disastrous wars. And so this does create a fertile ground for people to say, I wonder if they were lying about all these wars.
Sure.
Again, I'm not really trying to argue with you about World War II. I'd rather argue about these wars today.
I think the interesting question is whether you're busy watering it.
Well, should you not talk about mistakes that were made overall?
Absolutely.
Okay, you should.
Absolutely.
Right.
I'm all for going back and looking at mistakes.
So what is your argument then?
It's a very weird thing to go back, zone in on a man, say this one thing is a mistake and should characterize him, and you ignore everything else.
You're taking him out of context when you're talking about Daryl, who's done, what was it, 30-plus hours?
So what?
Talking about Daryl Cooper, I'm guessing going back to when he said that Churchill was the initial villain of World War II on Tucker Carlson's podcast.
30-plus hours of podcasting. You do that in a week. I mean,
yeah, but it's a very different thing. It's a very different thing.
He's not doing a podcast like talking to people.
Okay, nor is he doing scholarly work, nor is he working in the archives, clearly. Come on. I mean, this is...
But see, this is what the thing with these people, they try and police the speech.
He is not the historian of our era.
He's not claiming to be.
This is the thing, Joe. This is like punching jelly.
No, but you don't consume his work.
What I'm saying, because I don't need to consume endless versions of a revisionist history. I understand.
But
I know where this
it's not revisionist history. If you listen to his work, it's not revisionist history. He's basing it on historical work.
Yeah, I know. But okay, so this is my point about jelly. It's a shape-shifting thing. Comedian or historian?
He's not a comedian.
Historian or podcast? Would-be historian or actual historian? You say he doesn't claim to be a historian, but he's pumping out tens of hours of
neither
history.
does Dan Carlin. He doesn't claim to be a historian either.
You see my point about the move. It's like some weird jiu-jitsu move.
No, I don't.
Where you say, hang on, you know all about this as well. You say, I'm not a historian, but I'm going to spend my time talking about history. I'm not a journalist, but I'm going to spend my time talking about this thing. I'm not an expert on this, but I'm going to spend my time talking about this thing. It's a weird move, yeah?
No.
You don't think?
No, I'm a free American. I can talk about what I like to.
About what you want.
So what is the point
I've
here?
noticed you can. But,
but what's the point?
The point is, what are you pushing? What are you watering?
What
Why?
am I pushing?
Yes.
He really doesn't have a point. That's the problem. He asked him what the point is, and then he said, what are you watering? I mean, it's these intellects. You see Sam Harris do it as well. They try and police it, and they say, well, you shouldn't talk to certain people and stuff. I don't know. Douglas' argument is ridiculous. In his world, you would have to delete your channel because you aren't a political science expert. Well, I guess it depends. I mean, if it depends if you're like shaping the viewpoints of other people, I guess is what he's angry about. Like if non-experts are shaping the viewpoints of people. But it's like there's really, he doesn't really have a point though.
Liberty, free markets, peace, prosperity, not getting in another stupid catastrophic war, which we're on the precipice of right now. That's what I'm pushing.
What are we on the precipice of?
Well, I think weren't you just talking about it the other day? Everyone I hear on the inside says we're about to attack Iran. I think you just said something about that the other day. Am I wrong about that? I thought I saw in one of your interviews that you did.
No, they're not going to attack Iran. There's a meeting.
Possibly.
No. Okay.
That doesn't mean we are on the verge of a war. I mean, you keep referring to we being in wars. There's a very big difference between a country having a military that's engaged and a country being at war. This country has not been at war for 25 years. You have not been fighting for the American homeland for 25 years.
Yes, we haven't. That's true.
Right.
We haven't had a war on our shores. We've been picking on third world countries halfway around the world.
Well, you haven't been randomly picking on them. I mean, Afghanistan, you went...
I didn't say it was random.
Yeah, right, okay.
You don't think it was 9/11, Obama divided the country, but if you're talking about the Middle East, it was before 9/11. It was well before 9/11.
It wasn't like you suddenly decided to bomb, again, Myanmar or something. You went for Afghanistan to find bin Laden and take revenge for 9/11 and stop an attack like that happening again on the American homeland. That is very different from a country being at war.
Yeah, but that's a total mischaracterization of the war in Afghanistan. It's one thing to say that might be an accurate characterization of the special operations mission in late 2001, but then we fought a 20-year regime change war against the Taliban.
Because you got dragged into the quicksand of war.
Oh,
yes.
Okay, fine. But
fine.
I thought it wasn't a war. Like, what? I don't get your argument.
No, I said it was a war. It's your use of we, as if you're personally like suffering this war. I mean, you're a taxpayer.
When I say we,
we're taxpayers,
implied,
so
okay.
we pay for it. Okay, fine.
Douglas, would you go, if I went back and corrected you on every time you've used the term we to refer to your government or something like that? Like if I were to say, oh, we just imposed tariffs on China, would you point out that I didn't and it was the Trump administration?
I'm saying you take it obviously very personally, and that's your right to do so, of course. I'm just trying to make sure we're accurate here.
What do you think I'm taking personally?
Just that, the American wars.
Sure, yeah. I think they've killed hundreds of thousands of people and cost my country $8 trillion. And
I mean, but Dave Smith is always going to be on the right side of opposing these Middle Eastern wars because they've been such a waste. I don't know if Murray is trying to get him on the Churchill thing or what. It's just like...
Sure. And degraded my country very much.
And there's a very good argument to make on that. I'm still slightly bemused about this move from... I'm an expert on this, and I have views, to I'm a comedian.
I've never claimed to be an expert on anything.
This is the problem, Joe. I mean, if somebody
Wait a minute,
says...
you have to claim to be an expert on something to have an opinion on something?
No, you don't have to be. You don't have to be. But
so
this is like,
issue?
I'm not a historian, but I'm pumping out history.
But wait a minute,
I'm not an expert, but I'm talking all the time about this
But you're not
thing.
even talking about specifically on what he just said.
Dude, you get...
No, I'm saying...
Yeah, I mean, they're just talking between each other. But, dude, what you're talking about with Hitler trying to sign a peace deal with the UK, you understand why he wanted that. It was to not fight on two fronts. So he absolutely, in 1940, before the Barbarossa, he definitely wanted a peace deal with the UK. But it wasn't necessarily for the reasons a lot of, you'll see a lot of people say now. Like, well, he certainly wanted peace. Well, nobody wants to fight on two fronts. He certainly had to deal with Russia first. We should have never gotten involved in the Middle East. Well, I mean, obviously, but it's like you have to go back to what the American citizens were thinking in 2001 after September 11th. It was a different mentality. But obviously, I've done videos on just the neocons that were banked into Bush's administration, and it wasn't even necessarily Bush is the biggest one, but Cheney was like controlling everything. And I mean, they had like 3 or 4 plans in terms of in defense of Israel. They just could never get it pushed because there was no plan, or there was no reason to. And then 9/11, you have a reason to be galvanized and go in. But that wasn't even a big enough reason for Saddam Hussein. So that's when they came up with the WMDs on top of 9/11. Would have been cool if they actually debated substance, not just appeal to authority. Yeah, he is debating appeal to authority. Murray is. He's saying you should... Well, I mean, what was that the whole debate? Was that the whole thing? They were just... No, there had to have actually been debate. This debate is based on Murray saying you shouldn't be able to have opinions on things that you're not an expert on, basically. And then trying to backtrack it a little bit. What does EU mean by completely balanced? Well, it means it's just verbiage because they don't want to look like cucks to the United States. They're not going to say, yeah, we're going to agree to a trade. We're probably going to get screwed on it. So, I mean, them saying it's completely balanced versus what they do in negotiations are two different things. No, I agree with that. And that's another thing I wanted to say. A lot of big comedians do that. Well, I mean, why are comedians... you don't want to gatekeep this, but I mean, to see the amount of comedians talk about politics and stuff, it's just like, but I'm not going to gatekeep it. That's fine. But it has gotten, like, at this point, like, why are all these comedians obsessed with politics now? It's because of Trump? To be fair, a lot of the comedians do it. They have big opinions and then say, I'm just a comedian whenever someone backs them into a corner. Well, that's what Smith does as well, to a degree. He did it about Churchill. Why didn't the flow inflation pump the markets today? Because the markets are extremely unstable right now. They pumped way too much yesterday, so there had to be a correction today. I said they would go down today. It is what it is. Thoughts on the Panama Canal developments? I mean, I don't know. It seems like they just want Chinese influence out. I don't think they really want to take over the canal. But maybe I'm wrong on that. But Hegseth said that he just wants Chinese influence out. That doesn't mean they're going to take over the canal. Did you see Hegseth clip today? Was it about the canal? Ugh. I didn't see the clip today. Go to the 2-hour mark. They talk Middle East. Well, it's not. I'd have to search for the clip. It's a 6-minute clip, not the full podcast. I don't think Rogan even uploads the full podcast to X. Which you would think he probably would with like a deal with Musk or something. But and you know what? He probably has an exclusive deal with Spotify. I mean, dude gets like $20 million a year from Spotify. Was that correct? Because it was like 3 years, 60 million or some shit that he got. Comedians getting into politics has been... Well, dude, the crazy thing is like Andrew Schultz will have 2-hour podcasts and it'll just be all politics. Okay. I mean, but I mean, what I guess what else are they going to talk about? I mean, I guess you could talk about gossip and stuff, but I don't know, like what happened with well, this was just Smith and Murray debating on whether or not, you know, it's just like Murray not thinking Smith should have an opinion because Smith is not an expert, I guess. I mean, they try and police this speech, and then they get mad when Rogan platforms these people. That's something. That's what Sam Harris said. He's like, why is he platforming? And then he went after Lex Friedman, and Lex Friedman got angry. Sam Harris did. But he puts them on YouTube? Yeah, because he probably... Yeah, you're right. He does put them on YouTube now. He puts the entire podcast on YouTube, but he used to not because it was an exclusive thing, and then he signed a new contract, and Spotify allowed him to put it on YouTube. Remember when they were trying to get Spotify to... Liberals were trying to get Spotify to, like, stop the Rogan podcast because he was talking about the vaccine? What a crazy time. Comedians doing a 2-hour show on the Middle East is nonsense. I know, that's like, well, they all have these podcasts now, so they have to fill the air with something. But you think they would do like comedian news and gossip on comedian stuff with drama, but I guess they don't do that. Murray is annoying, but there is another side to the coin of podcasts. Really, what are they? Ex-comedians ranting about stuff. Rogan used to eat cockroaches before American Idol. Well, I mean, I think Rogan, Rogan's talked to a lot of people, dude. So I don't mind Rogan. I mean, I guess you could say I don't care who he platforms. I mean, to me, it doesn't bother me. But I get it's people that want to police speech, and then like if somebody goes on his podcast because he has this huge influence, I guess. See, I never dealt with anything like that because when you're not big enough, it doesn't really matter. But when you get to Rogan's level, to where it's interesting because just Rogan himself, his appearances are worth so much. Like if he goes on someone's show or something, it's worth so much for them. So I guess you have to tread a little bit more carefully. But I feel like Rogan, who's he even had on? That's crazy. I don't even think he's had anyone that bad on. But they've been calling him out for it, I guess. It was hilarious seeing Neil Young going against Rogan. That was probably the saddest thing ever. Because didn't he like take all his music off and then put it back on? He said he removed all of his music because Spotify didn't deplatform Rogan. And then he said, Spotify's like, yeah, Rogan makes us so much money. Like, he's the number one, our biggest investment. We're not doing this. Neil Young, you get like 5 views a day on your music. No, I'm kidding, but. Great video on the Shipbuilding Act that Trump, yeah, the Ships Act. So we'll have to see the investment into the shipyards and the maritime infrastructure buildup that we hopefully will see under Trump. Because the Dems would brag about the infrastructure deal and all this stuff, and really nothing happened with Biden. Stuff happened with the infrastructure, but the CHIPS Act, there wasn't a lot of actual investment into building factories for semiconductor production. So hopefully there we get some action with these shipyards. It's going to take time, but. Did you watch Carlson Jones? I watched some of it, yeah. Alex was just ranting about his he was ranting about how, the thing with Sandy Hook and everything like that, and just about how they were trying to remember there was a report that the Onion had bought InfoWars and turned out to be fake and stuff. They were just talking about that. I know they were talking about 9/11 at the beginning. Alex always talks about how, he called that and stuff. But I mean, I didn't watch the full thing. I don't know. Was there something good on 9/11? I'm always, I'd like to hear what you say about 9/11. But I mean, it seems like so much of it is like, I don't know. It seems like Tucker and Alex try and outdo each other in terms of like the craziest things they can say to a degree on certain topics. I just kind of get that. Because, if you constantly have these conversations with people, it's like you want to one-up each other. If Carney wins, Canadian democracy, freedom of speech will be significantly curbed, if not ended. He is the most dangerous politician in the West today. He is a straight-up globalist. Well, yeah, with the WEF, what was he, the governor of the Bank of England, the Bank of Canada? No, I know what you're saying, man. I get it'd be really bad for Canadians if he won. I'm not saying it would be good for you guys, but I look at it from an American perspective. And what's best for Americans, and you may say that it would have a negative effect and a trickle-down effect on America. I highly doubt that, but I mean, who knows? But I mean, yeah, the less globalists in office in North America, the better. I'll say that. But for my videos, it'd be good if Carney won. Play the Mike Waltz video today. I don't know, where is it? Still waiting for Alex Jones episode on JRE. I know it's been like 4 years. I don't know why he won't have him on. Aren't they in like they're in the same like city? That's it. This 7 hours.
Mr. President, last year the Chinese received 1,700 orders for new ships. American shipyards received 5. Under your leadership, like so many other industries, we are going to revitalize and make shipbuilding and maritime great again with these blue-collar jobs. These are the cranes, the ports, opportunity zones, and drive that investment back in. And we have, under that executive order, and also one to streamline foreign military sales for people that want to buy our equipment, and of course acquisition reform, all just this week under your leadership, Mr. President.
So we're going to be rebuilding our shipbuilding business. We may would have to go to Congress for this, but we may buy some ships from other countries that we're close to and that do great jobs with ships, but we're going to start the process of rebuilding. We don't really essentially build ships anymore, which is ridiculous. It's going to be a very big business for us in the not too distant future, but in the meantime, we have countries that do very well at building ships, and we'll be dealing with those countries, and we may be ordering top-of-the-line ships from those countries. And within a fairly short period of time, we'll be building our own ships. So we'll probably have to go to Congress for that, but we're not going to have a problem.
Rare earths are plentiful in oceans. We need to fund engineering programs to retrieve them. Well, it seems like that would be very costly to retrieve rare earths from oceans. Guess it depends how deep it is. Alex Jones took Elon's money and just hasn't been the same anymore. Well, you got to understand, there's a loyalty there because he was banned off of everything. Remember, they insta-banned him off of everything together. They all colluded, all the social medias back in like 2018. And so, there is a loyalty with him and Elon. We watch Piers Morgan. He has some really heated debates about Trump. Yeah, his content is like, I don't know, man. It's just all like obnoxious shit. But I mean, was there a good debate today? It's like all this content, like debate, like obnoxious. I don't know. I mean, I guess it can be entertaining. Also in the podcast, that Alberta needs 600,000 votes for referendum to annex. They may have over 1 million. What does this mean in regards to U.S.? What do you mean they need 600 votes to have a referendum? Is that a requirement? They need to have 600,000 people to vote for a referendum? What if they rebuilt the Titanic? That would be amazing if they had that. It's just not practical. Dude, I'll talk about the Titanic 2 here. What a joke that ship is, the Titanic 2. What a horrible movie. What a horrible, horrible movie. But yeah, Clive Palmer, go look it up. They said they were building it last year. It's the biggest crock of shit imaginable. They've said they wanted to build the Titanic 2 since like 2012 and just never. But it's just not profitable because the ship it's so dated, and these families would just rather go on nice newer cruise ships. Did you already talk about the JRE podcast? I did. I mean, I could look up more clips on it. I really only saw one clip. I think I'll probably play another clip. Kyle Kalinske has severe TDS. Dude, I don't know why Republicans react to that dude. He'll tweet out like these like third grade 70 IQ memes, and then Republicans just get so angry. Just let the guy just go into obscurity. Like, it's just, he tweets out these just like low reg memes like, oh, I'm gonna own the right. And then Republicans always fall for it and like, Piers Morgan, 18 months after October 7th, is still milking the shit out of it. Good for 30 to 40% of his content. Yeah, that's... I mean, but, you know, if it gets views, you got to do it. It gets views. He does the same people. I mean, there's some people that have probably appeared on his show like 100 times at this point. It's like, at what point does it get old on the same stuff? I don't know. Is there an actual purpose to 145% versus 125% anti-China propaganda channels? Show empty airport, malls, and factories. Yeah, it's just to put more pressure on China. That's why he keeps raising it every day. Can't they modernize the Titanic and build a modern version of it? Well, yeah, but the problem is, you know, modern cruise ships have balconies. They have lounges. The Titanic, compared to a modern cruise ship, is extremely small. There's no balconies. It's just all portholes. There's very little deck space on the top for people to get sunlight. I mean, it's just... I mean, I think it'd be cool if it got built. I'd love to see it in person, an actual Titanic, but it's like... And then they tried building a Chinese version of it, which would have just, it was like a station. It was for a amusement park, basically, and it was going to be permanently docked. And it was like a very terrible version. It's like, just look up Chinese Titanic. The portholes are not even aligned correctly, but the ship is actually abandoned. It's sitting in a Chinese port off of one of the rivers within China, and it's been abandoned for like 3 years. Because they got hit with COVID, and a lot of their construction projects stopped in China because of that, and a lot of them never restarted. You know, China has a soccer stadium that was going to be built. It's probably about 1/10 of the way done. It was going to be 100,000 seats, just completely abandoned. What the factories are saying is even a small tariff blows out their profit margin, which is single digits. Even a 30% could basically shut down business, cannot function. Yeah, I mean, it depends on the sector, really. Because some of these things are getting marked up like insane rates. So some of them, well, I mean, at this point, 145% tariff, this is obviously going to end with a negotiation. They're not going to be able to live with this. The question is, how long will it take? How much pain will people go through? Not just in China, but also the United States. But it's going to be a lot worse in China. Let me look up the Tulsi stuff, I guess. I didn't see what she had said about not about the voting machines, but about the JFK. Massive vulnerabilities to voting machines allows hackers to flip votes. Yeah, I mean, when you do this, it's more, it opens up more conspiracy theories. When you don't do paper. Oh, I guess this was the clip.
We're investigating. We have the best of the best going after this. Election integrity being one of them. We have evidence of how these electronic voting systems have been vulnerable to hackers for a very long time and vulnerable to exploitation to manipulate the results of the votes being cast, which further drives forward your mandate to bring about paper ballots across the country so that voters can have faith in the integrity of our elections. We're investigating. We have the best.
Well, iPhones cost $3,500. Well, I mean, this is like a very, I think, short-term thing if they do cost that much. Yeah, that's like the new price, because originally they said it was going to cost $30,000, but then they're like, no. But yeah, I mean, they're going to cost more just because of just whether they get produced in the United States or, I mean, they're going to have to at least until this tariff situation gets solved. I know they shipped a bunch of them to try and avoid the tariffs. Apple did. Like 5 cargo planes, all filled with iPhones. But I mean, you know, the idea is, and people won't want to accept this, and it would be very ugly, but it would take time. But it's more so capitalism and basically competitiveness in the marketplace that would eventually allow them to create smartphones for cheaper prices within the United States. But it's like, how do you really do that? How much time does that take? How much of a burden is that to the average citizen? Well, it's a problem. Buying a new phone every year is totally pointless. Yeah, I had like the I had the 4, but it was like a hand me down. I had the 4, then I had the 5S, then I had the they're all the same. I think I had the 7 after that. Then I had the 11. Now I have the 14. Ben Shapiro on his JFK vid bashed the right for conspiracies. Well, I mean, obviously he loves, he's Jewish. He loves Israel. There's a lot of negative things being said about Israel. He's probably not happy about it. First iPhone was the iPhone 6. Yeah, mine was like the 4 or 4S, I think. You still have an iPhone 7? Dude, that's pretty crazy. Do you still get iOS updates on that? iPhone SE on top. Dude, that thing. Wait, remember the iPhone 5C? It had all the, it was a plastic. It was a cheap plastic thing. The 5C. It had like bright orange, pink, red, and all the different colors. Why did Fort Knox get memory hold? Still waiting for Elon's live stream. I know. So, well, dude, why doesn't one of these reporters ask about Epstein, ask about Fort Knox? Like, and maybe it's just because I'm salty because the coins won't do anything, but just come on. We need someone to say something within the administration about it. Hakeem Jeffries said the GOP voted the bill today. What? Because people died? So this is still such a funny.
Passing this initial budget resolution should have been a slam dunk for Republicans. They had to pull the bill down off the floor last night and barely struggled to pass it today. We had 2 tragic deaths in the House Democratic Caucus. Had those deaths not occurred last month, Republicans could not have even passed the bill today. So it's going to be very difficult for them because once the committee process starts,
that's an inappropriate thing to say. I mean, that is seriously inappropriate. That's what I'll say on that. Do you have any Star Wars Legos? I used to when I was younger. I had a Death Star. I had a Millennium Falcon. But not anymore. I don't have any Star Wars Legos right now. Can't wait to be on the Michelle Obama podcast. Yeah, that's actually my big announcement. I'm doing a collab with Michelle Obama. So that'll be a fun time. I'm going on her podcast. She needs views. With my clout, I think we can get her 100K. We can get her 100K. We'll do a nice podcast. You guys know the labor only costs $5 to $10 per iPhone, so even if you 10x that to 50 to 100 per phone, iPhone margin is 50%. You're looking at a max 1200 USD. You throw in a 20% supply issue, 1680. You're saying the labor only costs $5 to $10, but I mean, there's got to be other things like when it comes to producing those phones that they already have set up in China that would cost them money to set up in the United States in terms of factories. And so that would have to probably be an initial upfront cost that would potentially rise their prices as well. I mean, I don't know. I'm just talking, but there's going to probably be other things as well. What happened? Dem congressman died or what? Yeah, he said 2 of them passed away. He's like, well, 2 of our congressmen passed away, and so if they wouldn't have died, we would have had the votes to block it. I mean, it's not really something you should be saying. Come on. You don't understand why there is any human labor in making an iPhone. Apple can just automate everything. Well, it probably is a huge investment to get the robots and things like that. They can just do it cheaper with the slave labor in China. You're fear mongering with the iPhone prices, 3,500. Yeah, but maybe like 1,900, 1,900 maybe. Conservatives do the same thing. They're literally preying on Dem Supreme Court dying so they get another. Yeah, well, the Democrats also do that with our justices as well. Will the White Sox lose more games than last year? I think that's impossible. I mean, but it is the White Sox should be ashamed. How do you lose like 150 games? Now, I think they lost like 125 games last year. Apple said they will not be increasing prices. They will eat the costs. Yeah, well, they already have such a huge profit margin already. But did they seriously say that? Well, then why is there all the fear-mongering if Apple actually said it? Thoughts on Musk finding 5.1 million today? Well, I mean, in terms of what? Wasteful government spending? 5 million is nothing. We've got a we've got... Is our budget... Let's say, I believe I think our budget is 7 trillion. I believe our budget is 7 trillion, right? Or is it 9 trillion? And we bring in 2 trillion less, so we have a $2 trillion deficit. Did you watch Stu Peters and Myron Gaines' Jewish manager debate? I saw a little of it. I saw clips of it, yeah. Did you see the helicopter crash? Yeah, I just saw that. If Trump commented on it, somebody was telling me. This has been talked about, but not in the way that actually clears it up. Why did Zuckerberg Bezos support Trump so hard? He won in 2016. They didn't support him. What do you mean? Like, well, they only supported him after he won. They didn't support him during the actual... And I would imagine it's also because he has a mandate. And going back to 2016, 2017, they have to support whoever wins. Because they want good contracts. They want good government contracts. They want to have good standing. Did you see Gretchen Whitmer endorse Trump tariffs? Yeah, but I mean, honestly, she didn't really. She endorsed some of them, like the auto tariffs, but that's kind of what liberals have been saying, if you think about it. I mean, unless there's another clip where she endorsed fully all of the tariffs. Liberals have been kind of saying, well, we like strategic tariffs like on the auto industry, but all the other tariffs we don't like. So, I mean, to me, she really didn't endorse all of Trump's tariffs. Liberals will say, well, we like the auto tariffs, but all the other tariffs are reckless and he shouldn't do it and there's no strategy. So at least that's really their narrative that they're spinning. Will tariffs help the debt a great amount or minimal? It depends how much Trump commits to the tariffs, but it's probably only going to be 250, 300. Well, I mean, that's a lot. 250, 300 billion. If that's what it ends up being, I don't know if that's even what it's going to be. It's probably going to be less than that. I mean, even if he has all the auto tariffs still on, that's only 100 billion. If he takes all these tariffs off the other countries, that's going to be no money generated through tariffs, unless he does like deals to where it brings the tariff down to 5%, but it's still on. I don't know if he's going to do that. Physical gold coin mooning today. Yeah, I bought that weed coin. I looked into that weed coin. I think it's gonna do well. It needs to do well, man. It's like I need one of these coins to do well, but I did buy it. It's at like 140K. Yeah, but still, Gretchen rejecting the hardline stance from the establishment, and that's good. Yeah, but she was also like meeting with Trump and stuff, and Trump said she was doing a great job. I mean, that whole dynamic is weird. You either die a YouTuber or live long enough to sell cringy merch. You guys, I never sold a single merch thing ever. Cutting wasteful government spending and bringing in additional revenue will hopefully balance the budget to at least 5 trillion spending. So it is 7 trillion is what we're spending. Yeah, I mean, I don't think they're going to be able to find that much in government waste. Musk has said they're going to save in the 2026 $140 billion or 100 something like that. So where is the extra? I mean, the idea is you can you have to cut the budget, which I don't think they're doing. If they're raising the military budget to $1 trillion, that's an additional $150 billion that's going to have to be. Now you can cut things. You know, they got rid of the Department of Education, so that's like 100 billion saved, but not really because they've committed to funding certain programs within that, but it's probably like 80 billion saved. I don't know. I just say random things, honestly. But no, I'm serious. It is like, you know, it's probably like 80 billion saved. So I mean, you know, you have to factor it all together. I will have the 9/11 files release. Then imagine I get like don't give me any binders. Oh God. Yeah, bring me in as an influencer. Keep me away from the binders though. Keep me away from the binders. We're total debt 36 trillion. Yeah, I know. I thought it was 37 trillion. It's like 36.8 trillion. It's basically 37 trillion. That's why I say it's 37 trillion. The whale enters. Sean, what's up, Ben? You think the elephant in the room is that Doge finds 20 million fake Social Security numbers or whatever, but never puts a dollar amount on what that will save us? Well, I don't know why they would even print Social Security. I mean, I know they were trying to explain it. They were like, well, then these people will pay taxes and stuff. Why are there Social Security cards for people that are not legal citizens? That seems like a huge problem. Why would they need to raise the military budget? Surely there are some ways for. I know. No, I know. I agree 100%. Trump comes out and says, we know how important it is to have a strong military, and it's like, yeah, we understand, but I mean, we spend 850 billion on it every year. How much more? They failed every audit. Maybe we should look at the Pentagon. Maybe Doge should look at the Pentagon. How about a reporter ask Elon Musk, when will Doge be looking at the Pentagon? Can a reporter do that? Why do I always have to come up with all the questions for these reporters? And then they never ask them anyways. Did you hear that lady who called out Epstein got ran over by... Yeah, I did hear that. He was in critical condition. Virginia Roberts. student debt is the only thing that can't be reversed. What, in going to college? I mean, I wonder how. I guess it depends how much student debt you have, but yeah, student debt is brutal, especially depending on your degree. If your degree is shit, I mean, it's really a horrible setup for kids. But I mean, I'm not going to sit here and give these kids handouts in terms of the government paying for it. That just can't happen. But I mean, it is a horrible setup for kids. I think the entire thing needs to be completely restructured when it comes to where kids go. Some kids definitely need higher learning. There's no doubt about it. But just there's so many useless degrees, especially when it comes to women just getting useless degrees just to say they went to college, and they're just saddled with like $60K in debt, and they get this entry level job for like $45K with their. I mean, some of these kids can't even get jobs with their degree just because everyone gets a degree now. So it's like, Pete Hegseth video. Is it a new one, or is it one? What is the one about Panama? Pete Hegseth slams.
All right, we're back with another update on cutting wasteful spending here at DoD, and this one is, as they say, a big one. This is a big day. We're signing a memo right now directing the termination of $5.1 billion in DoD contracts. Not million, that's with a B. $5.1 billion in DoD contracts for ancillary things like consulting and other non-essential services. So here's a few examples. DHA contracts for consulting services from Accenture, Deloitte, Booz Allen, and other firms. They're going to save the department $1.8 billion. How about a software reseller contract for enterprise cloud IT services, saving the department $1.4 billion. A $500 million Navy contract for business process consulting. Again, process, lots of consultant for administrative offices in the Bureau of Medicine. By the way, we need this money to spend on better health care for our warfighters and their families instead of $500 an hour business process consultant. That's a lot of.
So it's just a bunch of consulting bullshit, wasteful. 5.1 billion. I mean, that's something. It's not nothing. I mean, but put into context, the budget for the military is 850 billion. Australian federal election. Do a video on that. I mean, I don't think many people care about that in terms of my viewers. What do you think about Trump's U-turn on the tariffs? It's because of that yield that was really bad. The 10-year yield. I mean, basically, it's the death indicator. Stock market boomed. Well, it was because the yield boomed. One week till Carney's on the debate stage. I'll have to look up like the topics that they talk about in Canadian politics. But I mean, like, seriously, you would think an environment for a Canadian debate would be so heavily slanted towards a conservative victory because of how bad the Liberals have been. So I guess I wonder what'll happen during those debates, but. Your sister graduated from LSU with an English degree and was working at Whole Foods 2 years after graduation. I agree with your outlook on the college system. An English degree, yeah, and then, I mean, it's just, the thing is, the degrees are not worth the money. If you're going to go into a debt for just an average degree, average normie degree, it's just not worth it. It has to be viewed as more of an investment. And that's why if you're a lawyer or whatever, that's going to pay for it, obviously. If you have student debt from being a lawyer or a doctor, it's going to be paid for through your job. But if it's most of the, well, I don't know about most, but it's a lot of kids now to where they all get degrees because everyone's been taught you have to have a degree or you're just nothing. You're not going to amount to anything. You can't get a job. So now everyone has degrees, but then it floods the market. And it's almost like a lot of these kids think, especially women, they think they have to go to college. There's like no other route for them. Because I don't know any, like, there's no girls that don't go to college now. With guys, I mean, most guys I think still go to college, but it's you could find different avenues and stuff like that. There's different programs, manual labor, blue collar jobs. I think a lot of guys are taking that avenue rather than just getting an average degree. It's just not worth it. And then they say, well, if you get a degree on average, you're going to make more money. Well, then why would we pay for your degree in the first place? Then their whole argument is they want to get rid of student loans. Well, if you make more money than people that don't go to college, then wouldn't you be able to pay off your student loans because the degree itself is an investment and you can use it to get a better job than people without degrees? So it's all doublespeak with these people. Paul Vier's having massive rallies in Ontario and Canada. Thousands of people are reaching. I mean, I've heard he's had these massive rallies, and I know he's supposed to have a massive rally in Alberta. A lot of the Canadian election debate will be about Trump and tariffs. I mean, that'll be a little of it. I don't think that's going to be the main focus. Well, it probably will be the main focus because it is a crisis for them. But I mean, how much can you really say on it? There's got to be a renegotiation. I think they'll both agree there'll be a renegotiation. But Paul Vier will definitely ward it to be more of a Canadian first type. Deregulate everything. Unleash Albertan energy. What happened to Trump's mass deportations? It's a logistical nightmare. It's a logistical nightmare. They don't have the money to mass deport 10,000 people a day. $145% tariff on Chinese products. Are there any countries that would be willing to purchase those Chinese products? The majority of countries have too low of GDP. Yeah, I know, they're screwed. But they're an honorable country. They're not going to immediately cave to the United States. They're going to say, we're going to negotiate a fair deal, which will be positive for us because they're way more reliant on us because of our consumer base than we are of them. But they can also hurt us to a degree because they're a major economy and we do rely on them for a lot of stuff. So they're not oblivious to that. They know it's going to hurt U.S. consumers, this trade war, at least at the start. And at least, depending on, I think Trump's going to take the tariffs off a lot of these other countries. But there's going to be a deal that's going to be worked out with China, but the Chinese are going to try and swing it like, well, it was a fair deal and there were concessions by Trump and all this, but they're just honorable and they don't want to be bitched around. They view themselves as obviously as a major power. The inflow is stopped, but the illegals are here to stay. Well, yeah, I mean, I've discussed a lot about that. They've just completely shut the border down, which is very good. They've invested heavily at the border. They've got a lot of better policies at the border, including returning people they catch back to Mexico. And there's barely anyone coming in. The problem is getting the people that are already in out. And now we're even dealing with a situation where Trump's getting it from both sides. There's like, it's like, you can't deport these certain people to, wherever the fuck their country was. They're ruling it unconstitutional, but Trump's barely even deporting anyone at all. And it's like, we got one person wrong. Well, I mean, if you don't want us to deport the wrong people, why did you let 20 million or whatever it is, 15 million people into the country in the first place? You probably shouldn't have done that. That probably wasn't a very smart idea. But now Trump is saying, well, we have to leave some of these illegals in because the farmers need them. Otherwise, there's no one to do the work. But a lot of the farm work should be through AI. And I mean, like you see in Interstellar, look at the farms on Interstellar. It's all AI. And that's what the farms are going to be in the future. But they need like people to do the farm work, and it has to be illegals, I guess, because Americans don't want to do that necessarily. That's what Trump was saying earlier. What did you think of Florida versus Houston? I was very disappointed. I thought Houston played better. They were the better team. Analytically, they finished number one. I thought Houston it's unfortunate they ended up losing that game. They were up by like 12 points with 13 minutes left. That was the exact game they wanted to play. The total points scored in that were like 120, 130. That's exactly the type of game Houston wants to play. It's unfortunate they lost. Yeah, this shirt is really worn. I guess I'll go to that. Officially signed a bill to repeal the DeFi crypto broker rule. First cryptocurrency bill ever signed into law by a president. Oh, there'll be a coin up based off of this. Yeah, Trump is pumping crypto again with this new bill. Trump releases statement offering his condolences for the helicopter crash. Trump attacks Mexican-owned. Mexico owes Texas 1.3 million acre-feet of water under the 1944 Water Treaty. Trump goes after Mexico over water rights. Oh man, they actually are having a fat camp. I didn't think they would actually do this. Biden on Rogan before 2026. Biden's done. He's done with pretty much all media appearances, I think. But I told people it was going to be negative, but this is, we were always going to deal with this. And that is crazy. The 1 week performance is positive because of that single day. Because of yesterday, everything was positive. And even Microsoft only down 0.5% in the last month. That's good compared to what everything's been doing. 3 month, it's worse. 3 month is worse, but it's all for a reason. 225 and dropping. 252 and dropping. Why did the Houston player not go for the ball at the end of the game? Because it would have been a double dribble. So he couldn't touch it. Yeah, that sucked, dude. They couldn't even get a shot off. Florida was a better team than Houston? No, they weren't. Honestly, dude, they weren't. Houston played that game exactly how they wanted. Low scoring. Held Florida's offense down. Will Kane used to talk about sports, I know. He was on First Take. Guess this is not going to load. Alrighty then. Peter Navarro.
You simply look where we are now. We've got a 10% global tariff in place, and we're taking in about probably $4 billion a day. Well, we were losing $4 billion. We're taking in about $2 or $3 billion now. So that's all to the good. We're clawing back some of that dangerous trade deficit, and we've said.
Is he saying they're taking in $2 or $3 billion just in tariffs a day?
Had a 90-day negotiation in motion where at least 90 countries now want to come in and see us, and what they're going to do is literally offer us collectively hundreds and hundreds of billions of dollars of opportunity to bring manufacturing here, to sell energy there, and do all sorts of things to balance our trade. We are in a beautiful place. And look, folks in the media keep trying to stir people up, panic people. When yesterday we had the perfect result from the kind of negotiation Donald Trump does. Now, the bond market, I don't know what you're upset about the bond market. We have yields coming down, which is great news for people who want to get a mortgage and home builders and all of that market.
No, the problem is the yields were going up. That's why Trump, that was the big issue.
And for people who have consumer credit debt, that's good news. For people who want to go out and buy a car.
We've seen more selling of U.S. Treasuries, which again is the foundation of the whole thing.
The auction went fine yesterday, to be clear. The auction went fine. For your viewers, what they had, the Treasury opens up a window for, I think, something like 15 or 30 minutes, and there's a bid, and we had a lot of participation in it. It went fine. And because The rest of
But
the
at the
world
same
thinks this
time,
is the best
sir,
place to be.
I-
So
I-
what's the?
I take-
I'm
look-
trying to figure out what's the problem. We've set in motion this beautiful negotiation schedule. We're going to have India, Australia, Great Britain, the EU, Japan, South Korea. They're
Yeah.
all coming in.
I wanna get
They've
to
all
the-
been cheating us, and we're all going to get good deals from them to help the American people. We should be cheering.
10-year is still rising. What is it? 4.5? Is it back up to like 4.6? Well, there's something on here for it. This is all liberals talk about is the yields above 5% by June 30th. It's not going to be above 5%. Come on. Bullshit. U.S. import was 4.1 trillion last year. 10% is 411 billion. The guy needs to go. He's a boomer. Is he actually the one deciding the tariff policy? I don't think he actually is deciding it. I think Trump decides it and then he consults and stuff. But Trump has to have good advisors around him. We know this. Obviously, someone went to Trump and said this economic situation calls for a reconsideration. When do you think Putin, Xi Jinping, President Trump will meet together in person? Probably Saudi Arabia, 2026. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't know if there's any big meetings. See, I know Trump is going to Saudi Arabia within the next few weeks. He's going to do a tour with UAE, Saudi Arabia. I don't know. Is anyone coming to the White House? Is that... The Netanyahu stuff was kind of a bust for the most part. I think it was more of an optics thing for Trump, but 10 years 4.45, so it's lower than I said. I said it was 4.6. So see, it is not that bad. No, it's got to go down. I mean, Tulsi MLK video.
In other cases, they have been hidden with the hopes that no one would ever find them. Related to the Senator Kennedy assassination files, the MLK assassination files, unlike the JFK files, these have never been scanned. They've never been digitized. These are pieces of paper, hundreds and thousands of them, that have been sitting in boxes at the National Archives and Records Agency. So we've had over 100 people manually scanning every one of these pages, preparing them to fulfill what President Trump promised the American people: maximum transparency and the release of these files that have never been released publicly before. We're not stopping there. We know that not all of those documents have been turned over to the National Archives Agency, and so we've got teams out there going and searching in warehouses at the FBI, at the CIA, and other places to uncover related documents that for one reason or another were never turned over before. So President Trump is very serious, obviously, about working to achieve that maximum transparency. That transparency will allow us to bring about accountability around the Russia collusion hoax, for example. The more we dig, the more we find the extent of the seriousness and the intent of that whole operation was very consistent with what we found in Stalin's operation. Show me the man and I'll show you the crime. It is.
Yeah, no, looks like there's going to be things that come out here. So, I mean, I wouldn't hold your breath with this stuff, but China dumping bonds. Yeah, pretty much China, Japan, other countries. I saw what did someone say? Talk about you can't flip-flop on the tariffs and expect to be taken seriously. Well, it's more so being proactive. I mean, when you've got a situation like Trump had, when the yield goes up in that economic state, you had to do something. So what do you want Trump to do? Just sit on his hands? Wasn't Netanyahu labeled a war criminal by the International Criminal Court? Yeah, he was. That's something that people like to mention a lot. Is him being labeled that, and the United States still having a relationship with him that they do. Trump refusing to pause tariffs on Israel kind of gave me a glint of hope when it happened. Yeah, but it's probably optics, honestly, man. But I don't know. You know, it looked like it was going to probably be optics. But I mean, isn't the tariffs lowered on Israel now? Technically, they're lowered on everyone to 10%. Shohei Ohtani meeting with Trump was sweet. Yeah, Ohtani's a real professional, and it was a good meeting. Or it was, I guess, a celebration ceremony. Who will step in to replace Trump and continue MAGA in 2028? Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It looks like it's going to be Vance, but I guess we'll see what happens. Wouldn't surprise me if Tucker Carlson became an option. Other than that, I can't really predict anyone. There's going to be a bunch of establishment people. Rubio will probably try and be VP if I had to guess. Rubio could try and run, but I don't know why he would be picked over Vance. Trump asked you to lead a coup in Greenland. Would you do it? Well, that would not be an intelligent thing for the administration to do. I would hope the administration would go. I mean, I'm actually kind of like surprised at the Vance meeting. But I mean, I guess there's just a lot of, you know, these countries get so galvanized around the idea of being independent. So maybe that's why Greenland is being a really stickler. But you would think that, you know, you pay these people off and just make it easy. Because you have to have the people to a degree on your side to make it digestible for the public. Because, you know, that's extremely unpopular. You guys should know that. You know, you're in a bubble here where we all want to take Greenland. And, you know, if we say this, it's people, they fucking hate that. Americans hate that. They don't want that. Because they think it's, you know, imperialistic. They think it's conquering a country. You know, they have zero clue on the fact that there's 57,000 people there. The fact that they're already be owned by another country. The fact that that other country is not adequately funding them so they can have a good quality of life. Their unemployment situation, their quality of jobs. The fact that they don't even have defense forces. We all know this. These normie people don't know that. So they're like, you can't invade Greenland? That's a terrible thing. The fact that the Arctic is very important. The fact that rare earths along the coast, we don't even know how much are within the ice themselves and the ice melt in the glaciers. I mean, it's like $6 or $7 trillion just along the coast in rare earths. People don't know any of this, so they just say, oh, you're terrible. You're a fascist. Okay. Why don't you do some research on it? American rightfully owns the north of Greenland. What, because of that military base? Thun Air Base or whatever? Remember the 2028 election scenario where they had Vance dying during the election? I think I do remember. But you're talking about like liberals on X when they post these scenarios. Is that what you're talking about? I think I do remember that. Yeah. Well, I mean, it's all fan fiction with liberals. They have to like make stuff up to make themselves feel good because they got just trounced in the actual election. They were like, well, liberals are saying Vance is going to get crushed. Yeah, they said Trump would get crushed the day before the election. I mean, Seltzer, I mean, look, she was going to win Iowa. So who gives a fuck what they say? What do you think of RFK claiming we'll have an answer to the autism epidemic by September? Well, I think there's a number of things with that. There's potential over-reporting. There's also more people reporting nowadays. And then obviously it comes down to what else is causing it, possibly. I mean, obviously they're looking into the vaccines and stuff. I know that. Do you think Trump is waiting for the winner of the Canadian election to negotiate a new trade deal? Well, Canada is waiting for that. You're not going to negotiate a new, 5-year trade deal right before an election happens. That's just because what if the other person wins and then they're stuck with that? It wouldn't make sense. You see quote posts of Vance certifying Kamala's victory. Oh man, they got to stop with Kamala, man. Don't they know that their establishment is never going to pick Kamala again? You rather have a liberal Canada than any territory in Africa or Middle East? Yeah, we would never acquire territory in Africa or the Middle East. What are you talking about, the Gaza Strip? We're not going to be acquiring the Gaza Strip. You hope they're retarded enough to run her again? They're not going to, man. They just won't. She's not even a good candidate. Like, that's the thing. Like, if you had someone that was a decent candidate, it was just Trump was just so overwhelming, but she wasn't even a good candidate. So it's like... Dude, people are going to get so angry at me if I talk about this recession in a positive light. But I mean, you know it's coming. Will Trump remove a 10% blanket? I don't think he's going to remove the blanket tariff because there'd have to be negotiations individually with countries. They might be retarded enough to run AOC. VP. VP to like a white dude, generic white dude. Bashir, maybe. I don't think Newsom. Jon Stewart, AOC, Democrat Dream Team. Oh, you know how many Democrats on X would be like, oh, yes. Jon Stewart, AOC, that's the ticket. You need to have a fan meetup at Trump International Gaza. Well, I mean, we saw the video of it. Dude, the fact that Trump tweeted that, or Truth Socialed that, I think he also tweeted it. Donald Trump will set you free. It's an AI video. What is your take on the big, beautiful bill? I don't know. I'd have to look through. I mean, I saw it was raised. I think it's the raising military spending. I mean, it's, we'll see what happens in the Senate. It seems flimsy. China claims they will be banning U.S. movies, which just means they will run pirated copies in their theaters, more theft. Yeah, well, they're trying to do whatever they can with how big their population is to hurt American companies. The white person of color ticket is so tired out. Yeah, but it's not just that. It's the white dude, minority woman. The House passed ID. I know I talked about that. 204 Democrats voted against it. Well, yeah, I mean, that was the first thing I talked about. And it's kind of how they're trying to manipulate it. The SAVE Act would require everyone to have a U.S. passport to register to vote. Honestly, it probably should. But I mean, just have an ID. What's the problem? Thoughts on teen bitch boys throwing popcorn at movie theater for Minecraft movie? I saw that. What a mess to clean up that is. Seems like a mess. For a Minecraft movie, for a fucking I mean, I guess it's a trend now with young kids and stuff. Yeah, but this is the coin I bought. And listen, somebody recommended me this. I don't know, if you're in the chat, this looks like a good coin. Like, look at this chart. It's like a falling wedge. It's going to break out. And you've got 420 in 10 days. Yeah, 420s in 10 days. But this is like the whole Bitcoin narrative. Look at all these other coins related to it. 69. That's not what it is. Butt coin, tit coin, face coin. Wait, how is... You know, I bought nipple coin and it was at... It didn't do shit. Shit coin at 1.8 million. Pepe on Solana. Ass coin. Did you buy 420 coin? There's really not a good 420 coin exactly. I bought weed coin, but it doesn't have 420 in it. Thigh coin. Show the clip of the movie theater. Or is it just Minecraft movie? It probably will.
It's the latest rallying cry.
Boy, what a mess that is. You get popcorn on? Disgusting. Fentanyl coin? There probably is one. There's a coin after everything. You think NASDAQ 420 will pump on April 20th? Yeah, it honestly should. But it's not a 420 coin. It's just a playoff of SPX 6900. Just a funny, 420. Yeah, I might have to buy more of that. I don't know. It's pretty low right now. If we can do citizens arrest, can we do citizens deportation? Imagine Trump passes that. We go out and just patrol as ICE. No, I mean we'll see how many people they end up deporting. I'm not sure how many they'll be able to. Just make your own coin for a future news topic. Yeah, but you have to invest a bunch of money into that. It's not worth making your own. You're better off just finding one that's already out there that's kind of bottomed, like the 9/11 coin, things like that, and buying it.
Impeachment is imminent. The filing of articles of impeachment is imminent. We are currently in a countdown to impeachment.
Dude, this guy had this made like off of Etsy or something. This is so pathetic.
Now, those who know me know that I wouldn't say this if I were not going to move on with it. So
You're not going to move on with it. You don't have anyone in. There's no support in Congress. This is a total waste of time. Please stop.
What you have up your sleeve, but I do know that we will prevent you from having a third term. And the best way to do it is to not have you finish this term. And the best way to do this is to have you impeached and convicted and removed from office. It can be done. I'm telling you it can be done. The law says it can be done. We but only have to have the will to do it. The way is before us. The will.
It's just like, it's like his ultimate action photo with the cane in the air, and then there's Trump with Johnson and Vance behind him at the joint session, whatever State of the Union thing. And like his ultimate act, he should sign this. This is his photo. We need to try and convince a White House reporter to join your chat so they can ask the questions. Yeah, they need to ask about, we need to get the Epstein stuff back in the news. We need to get the, well, there's actually legitimate questions that should be asked, honestly. Not even trolling, but ask about Fort Knox. We need them to ask about Fort Knox again. Say, when are you going to Fort Knox? Ever think about having a guest on the show? Yeah, I should try and get people. I'm going to try and get people to come on, man. It's just like, because it gets boring, I get it. Are you old enough to have a MySpace account? No, it was a little bit before me. I'm honestly, for me, it was really like, I guess, Instagram and Twitter. It was like in between Facebook and Instagram, Twitter, like when I was younger. So it was like a weird period because I really didn't have a Facebook either, because Facebook was kind of like, I was too young for Facebook. When the kids had Facebook, I was too young. The U.S. is not a serious country. Yeah, when you've got stuff like this is action photo. He should sign this. He should sign the cane. What if he's like, and the proceeds in terms of raising money to start the impeachment proceedings will be through the sale of my cane. It is a game-used cane that I used to bitch out Donald Trump. The bids will start at $700. The cane has been signed. Am I good? It should be good, right? People were saying I was offline or something. Did you see any of the Masters? I saw Rory McIlroy chip a ball past the green into the water, into the drink is what they call it. Yeah, this is complete bullshit. Guys, this is just not, this is a psyop that's happening. Guys, think about it. If Hitler escaped to South America, why wouldn't Joseph Goebbels follow him? Instead, he murdered all of his kids and he committed suicide. Why wouldn't he also follow Hitler? So see, you also have to think of Hitler and his reaction to Mussolini being strung up after he was killed. And he always looked up to Mussolini. He didn't want that happening to him. This is a psyop. I'm saying, I've looked into this. I've done research on it. It's very unlikely. He had Parkinson's. His last videos, you could see, he looked like he was about 80 years old. People keep falling for this type of stuff. It's not good. I was offline. Froze for a sec, but you got back. When did you start getting involved with politics? Like 2015. But but with me, it was off and on too. Yeah, it was really off and on. If you don't do politics, yeah, I mean, there's different, but a lot of the politics stuff now, connection is going in and out. Yeah, my friend, I don't know why it's happening. You know what? It might be because of a, maybe it's because I have no latency. I dropped 140 frames, it says. Maybe I'll have to put a 7-second delay on it or something again, or like a 30-second delay. I don't know what it was. It only made sense he died in Berlin because of Mussolini. Well, dude, also Parkinson's. I mean, the problem is, and also, did you see the way Hitler looked? I mean, he was not doing well. They got him. The final video he had, I think, was March 20th when he was, you know, giving medals to the Hitler Youth. Will you do a live stream for the Canadian election in a couple weeks, or at least a live stream reacting to the results? Yeah, I'll do a live stream for it. I don't know. Can somebody look up, like, when are the votes decided on the Canadian election? When will we know the winner? Is it like 9 o'clock at night, 10 o'clock Eastern? Yeah, my stream is messing up a lot. All right, that's fine. I'm just gonna end it there. I did 2 hours anyways. I don't know if this I don't know why it keeps messing. I keep dropping frames. That's why I keep dropping like 30 or 40 frames every few minutes. It's at 192 total frame drop. So it is what it is. But I might have to re-add the 7-second or 10-second whatever it is thing to it. Latency delay. All right, guys, I'll see you later.